The waters flow in a free and easy way. Just give me enough of that rare old stuff that's made near Galway Bay. And policemen all from Donegal, Sligo and Leitrim too, we'll give them the slip as we take a sip of that rare old Mountain Dew.
Hi-da-diddly-i-da-loo, diddly-oo-da-loo, diddly-oo-da, diddly-i-day.
At the top of the hill there's a neat little still where the smoke curls up in the sky. By the smoke and the smell you can plainly tell that there's poteen brewing nearby. It fills the air with odor rare, and betwixt both me and you, when home we roll we'll grab a bowl of that rare old Mountain Dew.
Hi-da-diddly-i-da-loo, diddly-oo-da-loo, diddly-oo-da, diddly-i-day. Hi-da-diddly-i-da-loo, diddly-oo-da-loo, diddly-oo-da, diddly-i-day.
Now learned men who use the pen, they sing your praises high. That sweet poteen from Ireland green, distilled from wheat and rye. Throw away your pills, it'll cure all ills, pagan, Christian or Jew. Take off your coat and grease your throat with that rare old Mountain Dew.
Hi-da-diddly-i-da-loo, diddly-oo-da-loo, diddly-oo-da, diddly-i-day. 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 Hi-da-diddly-i-da-loo, diddly-oo-da-loo, diddly-oo-da, diddly-i-day.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the Stumpy Gully Bush Band. On behalf of the Glenelg Shire, I respectfully acknowledge the traditional lands and waters of the Gunditjmara, the Budjandij and the Jali Jali peoples and their respective cultural heritage. I acknowledge the elders past and present here at today's gathering, and through them to all Aboriginal people. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people provide an important contribution to Australia's cultural landscape and identity. We respectfully acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait community living throughout the Glenelg Shire and the contribution they make to the Glenelg Shire's prosperity and wellbeing. On behalf of the Glenelg Shire, I thank you for joining us here today. I know it's not the same as being at Island Park, but it's been a very different year, and this is no different than anything else that we've had to encounter over the last 12 months. So we may not have as many people as we would expect normally, but thank you for those that have attended today. I'd like today to welcome some important members of our community. And first of all, I'd like to welcome a fellow councillor in young Jaden Smith. Jaden, welcome to Casterton, and your partner, Emily. Thank you for coming from Portland today. You'll get to meet Jaden later, and Jaden will do some of the presentations for us as well today. Also, the Glenelg Shire Council CEO, Mr. Greg Burgoyne, welcome. And also I'd like to welcome former councillor and mayor John Northcote and his wife Helen, welcome. And also the 2020 Citizen of the Year, Mr. Keith Millard and his wife Barb, welcome. I'd like to acknowledge my husband, Owen Stevens. I'd also like to today, some of the Order of Australia medalists that live locally in Mr. Terry Baker down there, and also a Citizen of the Year, and Mr. John Donegan here as well. So put your hands together for those people. So today's Australia Day event has been planned in line with the Victorian Government's COVID Safe Plan for Event Framework. and the latest health directions that we have at Council. So, as we celebrate safely today, obviously it's just a reminder for us all to check on our COVID principles, that you've checked in your QR code or signed in for us today, and you greet people with a smile. You don't shake hands or give them a hug. Sorry, Keith, I did that before. Maintain physical distance of 1.5 between yourself, and you enjoy, and you carry a face mask in the community in case you need it. And obviously, just always remember, if you develop symptoms, just go and get tested. Practice good hygiene. These simple actions will continue to keep our community safe and enable us to manage the virus together. Just take this opportunity to thank the Stompy Gully Bush Band for their entertainment during the breakfast, and also take this opportunity to thank the Casterton Scouts for the delicious breakfast, and of course to the Casterton Mobile Coffee, to Lauren and Pat for our morning coffee fix, but perhaps we could just thank them all. So I personally can't think of a place I'd rather be than right here in Casterton within the Glenelg Shire for Australia Day, with events also occurring in Portland and Hayward and Merino. The Glenelg Shire, along with community groups, are privileged to deliver these unique events that inspire us as Australians on this particular Australia Day. Before we move on to our program, may I just suggest that you take the opportunity to reflect on the past 12 months and what an incredibly and challenging year it has been for our communities. We have faced some of the most difficult and testing times ever seen before, with profound impacts on our local economy, our health services, and above all, our community's mental and social wellbeing. Over the past year together, we have faced adversity, embraced new opportunity, and overcome substantial challenges. But we couldn't be prouder of our small but mighty Glenelg Shire community, who have rallied together to spread hope and kindness during these tough times. There was an overwhelming show of support to help one another, with new initiatives, programs, and services quickly implemented to help those most in need. From medication and grocery deliveries, from care packages, online music therapy, virtual learning and story time, Love Your Local campaign, and much more. The community spirit and resilience of those who call this region home has never been more evident than before. We are incredibly proud of this altruistic community and all they have selflessly achieved in the Glenelg Shire in 2020. So, just the nominee acknowledgement. An important part of Australia Day is to recognise and celebrate our local community and volunteers. Throughout the last year, Council undertook a long and broad advertising campaign, starting on the 27th of January, calling for nominations for Australia Day Awards for 2021 in categories of Community Group of the Year, Senior Citizen of the Year, Young Citizen of the Year, and Citizen of the Year. Selection of the awards was undertaken by Council based on a person's exceptional contribution to our community. I'd just like to take a moment to thank all the nominators who submitted nominations, and may I congratulate all of the nominees. The nominations were such a high standard, making selection a very difficult process again this year. Thank you to each and every one of you for your extraordinary contribution you make to our community. But also, the nominations for 2022 Glenelg Shire Australia Day Awards will open and remain open from tomorrow until in late October. And you can access that information on our website. Council has a tradition of Australia Day Ambassador. And Australia Day celebrations across the nation normally would have an ambassador, and of course during this COVID time it's a little different. The ambassadors are normally past recipients of Australian of the Year awards. They're sports people, scientists, business people. They're actors, community workers who provide inspiration and pride to Australia Day events. This year, the Australia Day Council has put together the ambassador via an address on video. Today we welcome virtually Major Brendan Nuttall, Commanding Officer of the Salvation Army in Melbourne and 2020 Victorian Australian of the Year finalist. As Commanding Officer of the Salvation Army, Major Brendan Nuttall has dedicated over 2 decades of his life to working with the most vulnerable people in our society. Leading Salvo's Melbourne Project 614, he works with a team of 1,000 volunteers to help people who are homeless or suffering from mental health issues, addiction or social poverty. Going out on the streets of Melbourne, Brendan and his team provide practical support, including meals, clothing and counselling, as well as working with clients to connect them with services that can facilitate their transition back into society. But most importantly, he forges one-to-one human connections that help people feel less marginalised and alone. Brendan is a member of the Premier's ICE Action Task Force and the Victorian Housing Minister's Rough Sleepers Roundtable, and frequently advocates for issues facing those at risk of homelessness. In 2013, he was named Melburnian of the Year in recognition of his tireless efforts to support disadvantaged people. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the 2020 Australia Day Ambassador, Major Brendan Nuttall.
To begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting, wherever you may be today, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. What's great about Australia Day? One, it's an opportunity for us to celebrate the fact that we look out for each other, especially when our backs are against the wall. Two, it's an opportunity for us to celebrate our Indigenous culture, which is the longest surviving culture of anywhere in the world. And that's something we should be incredibly proud of and something that we should celebrate. My grandmother was 7.5 months pregnant with my mum back in 1928, and she had 3 little kids, and her husband died at a pretty young age, and he had some pretty serious addictions, so he left very little money in the bank for the family, and it was the local Salvos that turned up with a box of food. And I think the Salvos were, back then, incredibly helpful to our family, and so it almost got embedded in our DNA. One of the things for me is there are an increasing number of Australians that feel overwhelmingly isolated. And I think that's one of the drivers for me is what can I do to actually address social poverty, and it doesn't take much. And when you just spend time with people, and when you actually see them not just emotionally doing better, but actually physically, they're upright, they're able to look you in the eye, and you think, wow, you know, I've actually had some sort of impact here on this person's life. That drives me to actually do more. I think one of the things about Australia is we've actually led the way when it comes to addressing COVID, and I think we're a world leader in that area. There's no question about that. But I think where we're leading the world is also in the area of the way that we've looked out for each other. I think that's absolutely critical, and I think it's one of the things that we often overlook. But we are remarkable in looking out for those that have been given up on. We're remarkable at looking out for those that have fallen through the gaps. And that's something that we're great at, but it's something that we need to continue to be great at going forward. So this Australia Day, I'd really encourage you to think about someone that feels like they've just been given up on. Pick up the phone, go and have a coffee with them, and remind them that they count and that you care. Reflect, respect, celebrate.
As I said at the beginning, everything's a little bit different this year, but I think that was a really good reflection from Brendan. Okay, it is my pleasure now to welcome back to the stage, for all of us that enjoy the music, the Stumpy Gully Bush Band. Have you disappeared? Where are you gone? The Stumpy Gully Bush Band are the driving force behind the Sanford Bush Music Festival. The festival has grown over the years and attracts people from all over Australia throughout the March Long Weekend and is fast becoming one of the favourite events that assists placing our region on the map as a Victorian regional event capital. So please welcome the Stumpy Gully Bush Band.
I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord, oh Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, hard drinking, hard rambling. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been working, roving cattle, Lord. Hot and dry and dirty work now, Lord, oh Lord. Fire and flood and storms and drought, driving in and cutting out. I've been working, droving cattle, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord, oh Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, hard drinking, hard rambling. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been doing some hard hay cutting, Lord. I've been doing some rock wheat humping, Lord, oh Lord. Cut that wheat and stack that hay, trying to make $1 a day. I've been doing some hard hay cutting, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord, oh Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, hard drinking, hard rambling. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been hitting that outback highway, Lord. Droving sheep from Kent to Hobart, Lord, oh Lord. Heavy load and worried mind, feeding water hard to find. I've been hitting that outback highway, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord, oh Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, hard drinking, hard rambling. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. One more time. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord, oh Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, hard drinking, hard rambling. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord. I've been doing some hard traveling, Lord.
If I were a minstrel, I'd sing you 6 love songs to tell the whole world of the love that we share. If I were a merchant, I'd bring you 6 diamonds with 6 blood red roses for my love to wear. But I am a simple man, a poor common farmer, so take my 6 ribbons to tie back your hair. If I were a minstrel, I'd sing you 6 love songs to tell the whole world of the love that we share. So be not afraid, my love, you're never alone, my love, while you wear my ribbons to tie back your hair. Once I was a simple man, a poor common farmer. I gave you 6 ribbons to tie back your hair. Twirly, twirly, all I can share are only 6 ribbons to tie back your hair. Twirly, twirly, all I can share are only 6 ribbons to tie back your hair.
Thanks for that.
We're done. You can come back later. Thanks, guys.
Are we done?
Yeah, you're done for the minute. Winchy, don't go far because it takes you too long to get back in. Okay, now we get to the exciting part of the day. As you could see from the presentation before, the nominations that we receive, and it does happen every year, we receive some outstanding nominations on amazing role models within our community that really make a positive difference to our community. So we have a number of awards that we'll go through, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Councillor Jaden Smith to join me on the stage, please. Jaden came into council for the first time at the last election in October. He's our youngest ever councillor that's been elected to the Glenelg Shire Council. Jaden is Portland based, but he and his partner Emily have joined us here in Casterton today. So make a warm welcome for Jaden Smith, councillor.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for having myself, my partner Emily and Greg here from Portland. It's a pleasure to be here. I know we're here to give out some awards today, but I think it's important that we recognise volunteers everywhere as a whole. They're the cornerstone of communities like this. So if you're a volunteer here today, give yourself a pat on the back. But we'll start with the announcement of the Young Citizen of the Year 2021, a very important one. It's important we nurture these qualities in young people to ensure that they do great things as their life goes on. So it now gives me great pleasure in announcing the 2021 Glenelg Shire Young Citizen of the Year. For decades, if not centuries, helping other people and charities has always formed the basis for demonstrating excellent community values. When these values are displayed at an early age, it's clear that many more great achievements will follow later in life. This year's recipient is always looking to help, whether that is through community clubs, volunteering, or raising money for those in need. She demonstrates teamwork and resourcefulness, even among total strangers. COVID-19 put a stop on volunteering in 2020, but she was still looking for ways to help in any way that she could. She's a kind-hearted girl, and she has achieved and contributed more to her community in just a couple of years than many people do in their lifetime. Would you all please put your hands together and recognise the achievements of Emily Eastman, Joint Glenelg Shire Young Citizen of the Year. Would Emily like to come up, please?
Young Citizen of the Year, Emily Eastman, Henty. Emily Eastman is always looking to help. She is currently raising funds for Hair with Heart through the Variety Children's Charity. Emily took the giant leap to cut off 36 centimetres of her hair in order to donate it to make a wig for a child that had lost their hair due to a medical condition. So far, she has raised $773. Emily has also volunteered her time waitressing at the Casterton Lions Club charity dinner and has also volunteered at Haywood Rural Health, assisting with the activities in the aged care facility. Emily was a Lions Club scholarship recipient in 2019, which was awarded to her for academic achievements and contributions to her community. Emily Eastman has achieved more and contributed more to her community in a couple of years than many people her own age and older.
I'd just like to thank everybody for coming here today, and I don't know who actually nominated me, but thank you to whoever that was, and I'd like to get people to strive to help everybody in their community because it makes a big difference, and thank you again for this award.
Congratulations, Emily. As you can see, she's a very deserving recipient of that award. So now we'll move on to the announcement of the Citizen of the Year 2020. It now gives me great pleasure in announcing the 2021 Glenelg Shire Citizen of the Year. The ways in which a community brands itself and works together to help its citizens takes on many wide and varied forms. One of the more innovative ways is through the generous gift of music. The tremendous positive benefits for the people it reaches, and in a year of isolation and challenge, music has never been more important. The amazing creation of music as a universal medium to bring goodwill to the community, a time when it was most needed, has helped so many people through COVID restrictions and kept the community connected. The recipient of this year's Citizen of the Year has been the driving force behind this unified language of melody and song to offer the gift of love through music to enrich and brighten the lives of local people in isolation. The platform has also served to provide and support music for musicians of all abilities to give them the opportunity to play together while in isolation through the power of social media and modern technology. Through the power of music, she has utilised this universal language as an effective common ground in a year of keeping apart to help unify and connect a community and deliver truly positive results. Would you please put your hands together to recognise the achievements of Rosie Collins, Glenelg Shire Citizen of the Year.
Rosie Collins, Glenelg Musical Mates, Portland. In a year of isolation and adversity, music has never been more important in bringing us together. One glowing example of bringing music to the community to lift spirits is Rosie Collins and Glenelg Musical Mates. Rosie has been the driving force behind Glenelg Musical Mates, which has served to provide support for musicians of all abilities, giving them an opportunity to play together while in isolation through the power of social media and modern technology. Rosie has helped engage many community members through different musical styles, from kids' sing-along sessions to pub rock songs. Glenelg Musical Mates is open to the whole community, providing hours of free entertainment, which has been a blessing to so many. Rosie Collins has made an incredible contribution to the community through her devotion to music.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Oh, look what I did. I'm just breaking your equipment, Brian. So now it gives me great pleasure in announcing the 2021 Glenelg Shire Senior Citizen of the Year. The recipient of this award selflessly contributed to the Casterton community his entire life and was always looking for opportunities to contribute to his local community in ways that would enhance the lives of people with whom he came in contact with. His love of sport started at the age of 18, and his involvement continued until his retirement at the age of 82, receiving service awards throughout his contribution and a reputation of commitment to all that he did. He devoted his life to helping other people. His engaging personality, dedication to his various sports, his excellent work ethic endeared him to everyone he met. Nowhere in Casterton could one find a better example of a person with the spirit of the Lions motto, "We serve." I ask you to put your hands together for Des Wombwell. Would Pat and the family please come up and accept?
Senior Citizen of the Year, Desmond Wombwell, posthumous, Casterton. Des Wombwell lived his whole life in Casterton, and throughout his 84 years was always looking for opportunities to contribute to his local community in ways that would enhance the lives of people. In 2019, Des was awarded a 50 Years Service Award by Cricket Australia and a special presentation from the Hamilton and District Cricket Associations on his retirement from umpiring at the age of 82. Des joined the Western District Umpires Association in 1968 and officiated in 620 official football games. Des joined the Lions Club of Casterton in 2006 and assisted with the running of Lions Club events. Des devoted his life to helping other people. Nowhere in Casterton could one find a better example of a person imbued with the spirit of the Lions motto, "We serve," than Des Wombwell.
There you go. Would anybody like to say anything? Yes. Pat?
I really didn't expect this, but I made a few notes just in case. So on behalf of my family, I would like to say how proud we are to accept this award for Des. He didn't do what he did for accolades. He always liked doing something and to keep busy. He was honorary caretaker of the Casterton Cemetery for a number of years, taking on the job when Jim Kent passed away. This was something he took with great pride. Most days he would be out there mowing, whippersnipping, poisoning or filling in graves that had sunk down or tidying up after a windstorm. But I must say there were times when he would come home with a smile on his face when somebody had come up to him and said, "Thank you for what you do out there." Or when he'd been able to help somebody find a grave that they couldn't find. There were special times like Christmas and Easter and Mother's and Father's Day where he'd be out there for the whole week beforehand, just making sure everything was spick and span because families would be out there. Not only did he do that, he kept the grounds at the Catholic Church and the Uniting Church all nice and neat and tidy. He took pride in that. The bowling club as well, he did that. He was a member of the Casterton Lions Club for 15 years and if there was something to be done, Des's hand went up straight away. He was instrumental in getting the Lions food van and was put in charge of it, a job he took with great pride. And if the van went anywhere for catering, Des was there. Also cutting the wood for the wood raffles and keeping the Lions Park neat and tidy at the entrance to the Island Park. He did what he did because he enjoyed doing it. He needed to keep busy, and he took pride in what he did. So thank you very much for this award. Thank you.
And I'd just like to thank John Donegan for the nomination. Thank you, John.
Thank you to Pat and the family. Beautiful words, Pat. Okay, Jaden, that just about brings us to the end. Oh, Gaza. Where's Gaza? Where is he? Gaza, are you going to do some poetry for us?
I don't quite know what happened here. About 11 years ago, just for the hell of it, I wrote an Australia Day poem. That's when we started playing for Australia Day. And I think the following year, Karen said, you better do another one. Now it's just part of the program. There you go. And I usually write them the day before. I finished this one last night. And some of the things I've seen here today, I wish I'd written it last 5 minutes. Yeah. Anyway, so here it is, Australia Day 2021. I wondered if we'd make it, to be frank. We're here with some restrictions, but the weather's not too hot. And now we've got some water in our tank. This year there's no face painting, balloons or fake tattoos. The COVID's gone and put a stop to that. But there's still plenty happening. Breakfast, songs and cheer. And friends to say good day and chew the fat. And what we've got to celebrate is pretty bloody good. We're still alive and kicking for a start. Most of us have made it through and made it COVID-free, and that should make us happy from the heart. The border's open? No, it's closed. It's open, things are fine. But now we need permission. No, we don't. We only need a permit. It's easy. Go online. They'll stop you at the checkpoint. No, they won't. I was going to say we break the flag. We haven't got a flag, but we break the flag. We sing the song with fervour and great pride. Now we've changed the words to sing. That's new. The words don't really matter, but then to some they might. Let's try to see each other's point of view. The ceremony, short and sweet. That's how we like it here. You councillors take note and keep it brief. Just say a few words and introduce the speaker with good cheer, and we'll all smile and feel profound relief. I have to mention Karen because I always do. She never knows just what I'm going to say. But when it comes to Casterton and what we can achieve, I've seen her put in many long, hard day. You got out of that one, didn't you? I did. The Stumpy Gully Bush Band, 11 years we've played. We wouldn't have it any other way to play old Aussie songs and recite a poem or two and entertain our friends on Aussie Day. So let's sit back, enjoy the day, appreciate the show, enjoy the brekkie, sing out loud, relax before you go. And when we're done, don't rush off, hang around and chew the fat, because life's too short to rush and bust. It's Australia Day, relax.
Thank you, Gaza. Gary, could you get the band back on the stage now, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. This does bring to conclusion Casterton's Australia Day event. Today's event, along with the ceremony in Portland, have been recorded and will be edited together and streamed on our social media platforms and also be available on Council's website tomorrow. We believe this is a great way to share today's celebrations with your family and friends that couldn't be in attendance today due to the COVID restrictions or other commitments. If you would like a copy, please just drop in to the girls at the staff at the customer service and we'll give you a link and give you a USB. We thank you for your attendance and we hope you enjoy the opportunity and acknowledge the recipients of our Australia Day Awards and be inspired by their achievements and enthusiasm. To all volunteers across the Shire, We thank you. We thank you for joining us here today. On behalf of Councillor Smith and myself, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Hey, Kath. We'll sing a couple of songs and then we'll do the national anthem, then we'll all go home.
Do you want to do the national anthem now? We'll do the national anthem now. Do it now.
Okay.
Yep. Could everybody be upstanding for the national anthem, please? Those that can.
Yeah, thanks, Karen.
You start.
You all have the words? We'll do both verses.
Yeah, the words are on that.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Second verse, and I want to hear the words of that.
Beneath our radiant Southern Cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who've come across the seas, with boundless plains to share. With courage let us all combine, advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Well, I've been round the world a couple of times, or maybe more. I've seen the sights, I've had delights on every foreign shore. And when the folks all ask me the place that I adore, I tell them right away. What do I tell them? Come on, let's hear you. Give me a home among the gum. Can't hear you.
With lots of plum trees, a sheep or two and a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back, veranda out the front, and an old rocking chair. You can see me in the kitchen, cooking up a roast, or Vegemite on toast. Just you and me and a cup of tea, and later on we'll settle down and go out on the porch and watch the possums play. Give me a home among the gum trees, with lots of plum trees, a sheep or two and a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back, veranda out the front, and an old rocking chair.
There's a Safeway on the corner and a Food Works down the street, and that new place that they've opened up where they regulate the heat. But I trade them all tomorrow for my little bush retreat where the kookaburras call.
Give me a home among the gum trees, with lots of plum trees, a sheep or two and a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back, veranda out the front, and an old rocking chair.
Some people like their houses with fences all around. Others live in mansions with bunkers underground. But me, I like the bush, you know, with rabbits running round, and a pumpkin vine out back.
Give me a home among the gum trees, with lots of plum trees, a sheep or two and a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back, veranda out the front, and an a sheep or two and a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back, veranda out the front, and an old rocking chair.